What's going on, everyone? Welcome to week 2 of the Betting and Survivor Pick'em Show. I'm the Seige. I'm joined by Ricky Sanders and the boss man himself, Rob Brink. Rob, good to see you got some hair still, buddy.
Like that? I've got good news this week too, by the way. I've got my crystal ball with me this week. This cost $2,000. It's a long story, but I have the NFT to prove it.
Well, considering our lack of success last week, we probably could use it. The only thing we did well was we did okay in the Survivor. We advanced 2 teams. We went chalk, Rams and Niners, and that was good because just about every other favorite lost. A lot of teams got eliminated. Like 25, like 15% of the field, 20% of the field is gone already. So good job, us.
CJ, how many?
What's up?
How many people are in that contest?
Yeah, let me pull it up. I have to go to the Circus Sports Twitter account.
And that overlaid like hardcore too, right?
1.92 million.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we've really beaten like 33% of the pool at this point.
That's true too, if you want to look at it like that. So let me just see here. Let's see the week 1 picks. So they ended up with 4,080 and 3,376 advanced. So what was that? Like 700 teams are gone. 600.
Pretty
plus
brutal
teams.
week 1. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, it's because the Rams and the 49ers won, which was about 2,200 entries, but Panthers, 578 teams lost. Jaguars, 179 teams lost. Falcons, 163 teams lost. Bills, 101 teams lost. Vikings, 75 lost. Patriots, 62 lost. If the Bucks had lost too, we would have been out another 500 teams. So yeah, it was basically if you didn't play the Rams or Niners, you pretty much just got wiped out.
What was the chalkiest pick?
The Rams. And then the Niners were right behind them.
It's weird how the Jets are a better team than everyone thought they were. Who would have thought that, except for me screaming from the mountaintops last week?
The Panthers too could have been another one that lost, but that could have been. It could have even gotten worse. So that's good news for us. So let's talk about that first. I think that's where we have the most consensus this week. Basically everyone except Jeff Mans wanted us to take the Packers -11 here in the Survivor contest. The only reason why we wouldn't do this is because, the Christmas week is its own week and there's only 2 games, Browns at Packers, Colts at Cardinals. I just assume, guys, we're just going to leave the Cardinals for that and just use that as our Christmas Day pick when we get there.
I would tend to agree. Do we have 2 teams in this?
We do.
Yeah, I mean, I think for that reason, leaving the Packers makes a fair degree of sense.
Here's the problem. The other team you'd want to use is the Browns, which is the exact same issue.
Well, you have to take the spread, right? Browns -12.5.
No, you just got to win. You play to win the game.
This is okay. Then yeah, I guess still Browns, but I don't know. The Browns losing like their whole receiving corps got me worried. I'm on the Texans line this week, so I'm a little concerned that that's a trap. I feel much better about the Packers.
Hey, does anyone know if Tyler Beaker's ever played Survivor before? Why are we selecting teams with 3-point spreads in Survivor, Tyler?
Yeah,
what are we fucking doing?
I mean, there's still a degree of game theory here. I respect it.
Not week 2. It's too early for game theory.
The only game theory play I could understand is the Steelers. Like that's the one you could get me behind. Is that the Raiders short week flying across the country? This is a good spot to use the Steelers. Like that's the one you could talk me into. But
I'm surprised no one
Broncos.
I'm surprised no one took them. Maybe because I was really expecting Rob to. Yeah, maybe because of the epic comeback, last week. But
I think it's the Packers, and we just pencil in the Cardinals as our Christmas Day play if we get there. But it was the only reason why I thought the Packers.
Are we going to split entries, or are we going to do both the same team?
I mean, I think we should just go with both of the Packers. Here's my issue with the Packers. I'm not sure they're the world's best team, and I don't want to have to be holding on to them. If they're 7-5, does Rodgers just check out? I'd rather get them in now.
The other thing we have to remember, somebody has to play the Lions every week and somebody has to play the Falcons every week.
I don't think the Falcons are that bad.
Yeah, let's not put the Falcons in that category.
Although the play calling has me worried, but I'm not there yet.
All right. So if we fade the Lions, like they're going to win one game, right? So you just got to be just like, don't be on that team that happens to beat them that 1 week.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Packers are the play here. I just wanted to mention that's the difference between this and some of the other Survivor contests out there. We do have a Thanksgiving week, which is unique. And then we have a Christmas Day week, which is its own week. So the Colts on the road at the Cardinals, I think, is just a good spot. Like if something was to happen to Kyler, then great, we have the Colts, So I think that's kind of the way to approach it. So okay, we're done with Survivor. Let's lock that in. Green Bay. And that's good too. All these other teams get eliminated. At least we can't get eliminated until Monday Night Football. All right, let's go ahead and start talking about some of these games over at Circa here. We are all over the map, so let's just start right away.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question, CJ.
Yeah.
Do you know? When do we know the percentage of picks in the Survivor pool? When did we learn that information?
It came out on Saturday at 7:14 Central.
All right, so we know well in advance of Monday what's happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it comes out pretty early, which is
that's good information though, right? If some point you have 2 picks left and you just like fucking take both teams.
Yeah, there's definitely there's a hype. If some team gets eliminated, right, and we've got 2 teams left, and it's Christmas. You could definitely take both sides, right, and or you could start hedging that late in the season. There's a lot of options for us if we get that far, but let's just try to get some wins under our belts. I think a lot of people are going to use the Broncos this week in Survivor, and I think that's a mistake. We'll talk about that game because we were sharply divided on that game. Well, let's start with a game I was the only one that had any interest in. Saints at Panthers here. Panthers 3.5-point dogs. I like the hook here. I think this would have been a 2.5-point game if not for the Green Bay blowout. I think that was more about Green Bay than the Saints. And I don't think this Panthers team's that bad. So, the Saints are still on the road. They haven't been able to go back to New Orleans. They're kind of a team without a home. That was their emotional game. I think it's a bit of a letdown spot. So I wanted to play the Panthers. Nobody else joined me. So I guess we're moving on.
Yeah, I just like why.
Yeah.
Why fuck with this game? I see.
I just don't. Yeah, there's a couple of these other games that I just don't want to touch that you guys like. All right, let's talk about Texans and Browns plus 12.5 here. Ricky and Duke were in on the Texans plus 12.5. I get it. I just my problem is the Browns should just run through the Texans' throats with Chubb and Hunt, and I just Ricky, make your case.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the run game is what scares me. There's nothing there in the receiving game. Potentially both their left tackle and their backup left tackle are out. We've got Jedrick Wills questionable. Chris Hubbard already ruled out. So we could be on our 3rd string left tackle here, making this pretty much a, single oriented offense in the run game. And I just think with 12.5 points, I'm willing to take my shot with, Jarvis Landry being the entire passing game and Nick Chubb versus the world. I think that's a lot of points.
I don't disagree now that I look at this total. We're talking about a total of 48, getting 12.5 points. It's not a bad spot to take the points here, in my opinion. I don't disagree hardly on this at all.
That's the side I would be on if we had to play a side in this game. That's the one I'd want to be on. And especially since we're not going to take the Browns in Survivor, that could get a lot of fun, if it's within a score and we can just go for the Texans. So that's one I definitely could see us playing. That's the side I'd like. All right, Bengals plus 2.5 at the Bears here. Ricky, you wanted to play the 2.5. You were vocal about it, saying, "Why am I the only person that likes the Bengals?"
Yeah, what are we doing here? This Bears secondary looks pathetic, and Joe Burrow is going to be a guy who's just about the league lead in passing attempts. Joe Mixon, I mean, he couldn't have looked any better last week. And the Bears, for whatever reason, Nagy is so stubborn that, Justin Fields is just going to be a guy slowly integrated into the offense, which means we're getting 75% Andy Dalton here. Again, I'm making the case this Bears should be like a 2-win team as long as Andy Dalton is mainly in charge of this team. The secondary sucks. The passing offense isn't great. And I think this Bengals team should be able to throw all over them, especially now that, T. Higgins, he had a scare last week. He's going to play. You got all 3 receivers. Did you see them try and tackle Cooper Kupp? Not only was Cooper Kupp insanely open, but when they got by him, it was like he was Bo Jackson from the original, Seige games. This secondary is pathetic. No Kyle Fuller. They're going to get thrown all over. So you give me an offense that could throw like this. I just don't think the Bears have much of a chance. I know it's Soldier Field where, the groundskeeping is often a challenge for the opposing offenses, but I still think that this Bengals team, with points, give me them.
I actually walked away from the Sunday Night Football game impressed with the Bears offense. I thought they did better than I thought they were going to. For 3 quarters, they kind of just got whatever they wanted. And yeah, it kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter when they start going blitz heavy, but that's never been a Zach Taylor thing, is blitz heavy. And I was really disappointed with the Bengals play calling in the second half. Like, they were up 21-3 and they should have won by 30. And Zach Taylor went into what I call Brian Kelly mode, which is run, punt, run, punt. And on the road, this line stinks. What about you, Rob?
Do you care about the 2.5?
Not really.
Ricky, do you care about getting 2.5 here?
I think the Bengals win this game outright.
So you would bet this at Pick'em?
Yes.
I think I just wonder what percentage of this is Ricky's Andy Dalton hatred coming through.
There's a level of that, but the other level is that secondary.
I don't know if I trust Zach Taylor to throw enough. I was so disappointed with that second half from the Bengals.
If they watch tape of the Bears and they're not throwing all day long in this game, they deserve to lose.
You're high on the Bengals too here.
I am.
I'm like the Bengals. I'm high on the Bengals this season. I could get behind this. This is one of those lines in 3 weeks that we're going to either laugh at or be like, wow, the Vegas mark was all over this. I don't know. All right, let's move on.
Everywhere.
This is a game I thought we were going to get a lot more love for. The Raiders and the Steelers -6 here. And the only people that had any interest were Jeff. And I guess I kind of swapped my Panthers to the Steelers here. The Raiders are pretty injured coming into this game. Short week, cross-country flight. I really don't ever like the Steelers, but I would bet the Steelers up to 10 in this spot. I really think there's going to be a one-way thrashing.
I've been laying off the Steelers just because I've gotten so much shit about how much I love the Steelers. But, look, they looked good last week, which I knew. They're
in the second half. Let's
the second half. Yeah, the first half was
they had
pathetic.
58 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
They beat fucking Buffalo in Buffalo. What else do you want from this team? Generally leg 6 at home here in this spot. I would be happy to take it. I've just been laying off a little bit because of my fandom. So if you guys like Pittsburgh, I'm in.
I mean, I think it's a pretty good spot. Like, I would rather, like, for
You're
example,
low on it though. You put a 1.
Yeah, well, it was just it was a 0. Then I realized that was wrong. Like, I think
they're gonna win by 10. Confidence level 1.
Well, I think the confidence level is probably wrong. Like, I think I probably have to shake them all up. I think I'm more confident that the Steelers cover than the Packers. I think that's probably where it stops. So probably like a 2 if I was to sit here and redo it. But
are we worried about how good Max Crosby looked and like an immobile Ben Roethlisberger? Because Crosby looked awfully dominant last week.
Yeah,
that's my only concern. I just wanted to bring it up. I still would be on the Steelers side, but I just want to say that this Vegas defense, I think, is going to be improved.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't have a strong opinion. I like the Steelers more than some of these other teams that you guys ranked pretty highly.
Let's just all agree that Pittsburgh's got the best defense in the NFL right now. So
yeah, I guess that's probably true. Oh man, Arizona's defense did look pretty good though. Not sure how much I believe it, but it looked good.
We love
it.
So Bills -3.5 at the Dolphins here. Rusty was the one who liked the Bills here. I could see this. This number would have been 5 or 6 had the Bills won last week. We are getting some value here, but I just hate these teams going to Miami in September that are from cold weather climates. We'll see this one in a second, but I just can't really get enough confidence here to put the Bills in.
Yeah, this Dolphins defense looks like it's going to be a turnover machine again.
Okay, like the Damian Harris fumble was a fluke. Like, I don't know. And Stevenson always had fumble issues. I'm not ready to give the Dolphins a lot of credit for this.
I feel like halfway through last season, we were on streams. You're like, all right, there's been a lot of flukes with this Dolphins team. And then it's like every week, 2 turnovers.
Totally agree. I love them going to New England last week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they were about to lose. And then Harris had the first fumble and like 600 touches.
Well, when you teach the Peanut Tillman form of punching the ball,
It's called luck. Luck. They were marching their way into cover. I had the text ready to go.
it's a
and then
fumble
Damian Harris fumbled.
factory. It's
I
a
had the
fumble.
text ready to go.
I had the text ready to go. And then he fumbled. I had to delete. It was like delete.
Ugh.
I think we just stay away from this one. Let's get to our universal consensus play of the day. It's the Rams -3.5 for the Colts. Colts injuries issues here are widely known, and it's getting worse. There's still no Quentin Nelson. There's still no help on the defensive line. I just think this Rams defensive line is a bad matchup for the Colts here. I would take this all the way up to 7, feeling pretty confident in the Rams. I know it's a shorter week, but I'm not too concerned here. I think they win this one by double digits. And this time I have a 5 confidence, Rob. So no making fun of my confidence level.
Yeah, I've got a 4. We've only got one man on the call here that doesn't have any confidence in this game.
I just liked other games better. I guess the Colts injury scenarios, like you could talk me into it. I just don't know what to make of the Rams defense. Like you mentioned, like the Bears threw all over them, and that was really shocking to me. So like a defense that let me down last week, like going in this week and pounding them on the road, I wasn't overly excited about it.
I just don't see how the Colts get a stop.
Okay. If you're looking at it that way, then I understand.
Like I think the Rams make enough plays, which was we kind of saw it, right? Over 4 quarters, the Rams defense made enough plays to win, convincingly. I think that's kind of the same situation here.
Yeah.
Rob, what you have anything to add here about the Rams?
No, I totally agree. I make it 5.5. I mean, I think they dominate.
Yeah. So this is the first one that we're going to lock in across all our teams. Rams -3.5. All right, let's go to the 49ers at the Eagles here. 3-point spread, Rob. You're the one who liked the Niners here. You could definitely talk me into this.
Yeah, I'm going to ultimately bet the Niners this week. I make them 6 points. And, look, I was impressed last week. Like I thought they looked, and I wasn't on them last week. I thought they looked really good. This is a panic for how well the Eagles looked, I suppose. But I don't know if we want to give them much credit here.
Hold on. How great they look. They almost blew 38-10.
Yeah, but that was like George Kittle onside kick off the chest. Like there was a lot of flukiness to it, and they were playing prevent. Like
I'm just saying, it can't just be an overreaction to one thing. It's probably to both that there was a near implosion there as well.
What's the line if the Niners don't implode and they win by like 28?
Week 1, this is 5.5 to 6.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something, Rob. I could definitely get behind this.
I don't know. I was the Jalen Hurts supporter last week when you guys were all over Atlanta. I was like, really? We think Philly's this bad? I think Jalen Hurts is really good, really difficult to defend.
That play calling from the Falcons was just so atrocious.
Oh, yes. That didn't give him a chance. There's no question. It'll be better for the 49ers. So
I can say we'll talk about that game in a minute. After watching the tape, I just can't imagine that the Falcons are like, well, I guess we're going to try to run against the Bucs again. I just can't see how that happens.
I just don't know. No one else picked Niners this week at all.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I really do. Yeah, I think
I'm the Hurts truther, so I have a hard time going against this off.
I think I would rather bet the Niners -3 than the Packers -11.
Yeah,
I like the Packers, but I think I would rather do that.
We're not laying 11. We're not
laying 11.
Yes, please.
All right, let's make another change to my picks.
Literally modifying the spreadsheet.
I am modifying the spreadsheet. We haven't submitted anything yet. This is why we do the show. This is what the point of the show is.
I'm guilty. I was guilty of that all the time last year. If there's someone makes a good case, I reserve the right to switch as well.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the game where we were. I don't think we've ever been this divided on a game in this group. Broncos -6 at the Jaguars. So Rob, Jeff, and Tyler were on the Broncos. Me, Ricky, and Duke were all on the Jaguars, and it wasn't like anyone had one confidence on it. It was 3s, 4s, and 5s.
We got a 5.
There was a 5 from Jeff Nance. I think the Broncos lose this game. This is the game I would. We're not going to put it in anywhere because we're evenly divided, but I like this spot for the Jaguars. Number 1 picks and first-round quarterback starting week 1 have been atrocious against the spread historically. It's like 3-15-2 heading into last week. I mentioned it when I wanted to play the Texans. And so I think this is just an overreaction to how bad the Jaguars looked. Now they're going to be at home. It's a cold weather team coming in. I didn't think the Broncos were all that impressive against the Giants, just considering how bad the Giants were. I was just not impressed with what Denver did. I think the Jaguars respond at home. I think this before week 1, this would have been a 3-point game. I think we're getting an extra 3 points just because of how bad the Jaguars looked. And I don't think they're that bad.
Yeah, but what you're missing here, well, 2 things. Duke is a soccer guy. You can scratch his 3 off. And that really weights the Broncos where it needs to be a play. Okay. So,
Okay. With Jeff Mans, we can take out his 5 and we're back to where we should be with the
Why don't you take Jeff Mans 5 out? He's the real football guy, not football. Listen, Jacksonville, you're not seeing it yet, but I am. There are fucking serious cracks in the coaching staff right now.
They're not that bad. They actually ran they're like the fastest team in the NFL. They actually were
cracks
good
in the coaching staff right now, and this team is getting ready to riot. They're a fucking mess, and then mess is starting in the head coach's office. And I think this team implodes throughout the year and are just totally exposed. So I like that. I think they're a bad team. I like Denver coming in here and taking advantage and getting the job done. That's where
they're not winning this game. They're never going to win the game out.
Are you getting that from the Reddit thing that I posted? I still don't know if that was like legit. They're verified on Twitter.
No,
yeah, it was like, what did it say? It was like that Urban Meyer was considering retiring because his heart's not in it. There was a quote report from Reddit it's on their verified Twitter.
That was a USC booster leaking it to try to get Urban.
The players hate Urban Meyer.
Well,
it's a
he's treating them like college kids. He's literally doing like, what's he call it? Hustle to hydrate. Like, these are fucking grown men. These aren't like 19-year-old college kids that you make hustle to hydrate.
Well, all I can tell you is I'm going to riot if Carlos Hyde gets 60% of the workload again.
They were down like 20 points immediately.
All I can tell you is I'm going to riot.
Script. Like, don't panic. This is a drastic overreaction. Like, we knew the Texans were a good spot, Rob. We wanted to play the Texans last week. We didn't think the Texans were as bad as people think. So this is now you can't take the overreaction here. There's no way we're going to take an extra 3 points on that Denver team who was a train wreck. Now doesn't have Jerry Jeudy. I don't think they're going to be that good. I think this game is a potential shootout. The Jaguars are playing at one of the fastest paces we've ever seen. I just don't think Denver can hang in a shootout. I really don't. I don't think they've got the horses.
Fucking 45 total. Where are you getting?
Yeah, and I'm going to bet the over. Way over. 45 total. The Jaguars are they ran so many plays last week. They ran 67 plays. They're good. They're the fastest team. They're going to be super fast. His teams in college were fast. I don't think people are judging the Jaguars pace correctly. I'm going to hammer the over 45. And if it loses, it's because Denver puts up like 14 because they suck. All right. Let's move on. Patriots -5.5 at the Jets here. I think the Patriots win by 7, but there's no chance in hell I would put my money on it.
Soccer guy likes the 6.5.
5.5. Yeah, well, the soccer guy likes dead numbers. I guess. I don't know. I could see the Jets keeping it to a field goal. I just don't think the Jets are going to win. I'm just not going to take anyone plus 5.5 that I don't really see much win equity with.
Yeah, I mean, if I were on this game, it'd be the Jets side, but I think it's a pretty fair number.
Totally agree.
All right, let's move on to Vikings +3.5 at the Cardinals here. So in another group I'm in, a lot of love for the Vikings this week. I was caught off guard. I don't get it. I thought the Vikings looked like all their flukiness from last year kind of was starting to show itself. Like, they were one of the luckiest teams on third down last year. And their offense is pretty vanilla. And I was impressed with what I saw from Arizona. So I see, Rob, You're on Arizona. I can't argue with you here.
Well, whoever you're talking to is off on this game. We've already got a half a point of value here. It's four everywhere right now. Well, not everywhere, but a few spots I see 4. I think this game closes 4.5, potentially 4.5 to 5. I don't know why we would not take the Cardinals this week, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, did Minnesota show us something that would preclude like this Cardinals team? I don't see it. I mean, they are stacked. I mean, they're all around defensively. I mean, they just look really fucking good. And again, I'm happy to lay 3.5 here.
Yeah, I can't argue. This would definitely. When I saw the Vikings plus 3.5, I was like, "What the hell are you people smoking?" But I guess that like if this line, the look ahead was a pick 'em, so I guess it's a move. But I gotta be honest, I think it's the right move here. You got any thoughts, Ricky?
I mean, the Cardinals were the one team that I bet the Super Bowl future for, so I've thought they were legit for quite some time. So, I mean, most weeks where there's people are on opposite sides of the Cardinals, I'm mostly going to side with them. I think they're a really good team.
Yeah, this is one you could definitely talk me into as well. Falcons Bucks here plus 12.5. I think that this is probably a number we should take. I'm not going to promote it too highly since no one was on it, but I think that this is a drastic overreaction of week one. The play calling was terrible. You're not going to see that Falcons try to run the ball 30 times against the Bucks. I mean, if they do, they're going to lose by 30. But I think they're going to throw more. I think they'll be better, but there's no chance in hell I'm going to make you guys take the Falcons plus 12.5. It's a dead number. So we can.
I have a request. I need Tyler Beaker on this show next week. He wants to lay 12.5, but he doesn't take them in Survivor. He wants the -3s in Survivor, but he wants to lay 12.5 and it gets the spread contest. Tyler.
Well, we're gonna need a sub for Ricky next week, so we can.
Tyler,
make this
you're
happen.
on the show next week. I gotta understand the logic of laying 12.5 in a fucking against the spread contest and taking -3s in Survivor.
We got to be all over Calvin Ridley this week in daily fantasy.
I think this is I think Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts are fantastic daily fantasy bounce back guys.
Yes.
They just cannot run the ball like they did last week. They were terrible. The play calling was terrible. You have to think he went to the office and was like, wow, I fucking sucked.
Even if this game goes as Vegas thinks, then we could have the backdoor, fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, there was no backdoor evidence of the last week, but
there wasn't.
But I'm going back to the well. I think Kyle Pitts is like 5,200 at tight end on FanDuel, and I was just like, all right, well, 50% Kyle Pitts. We're going back to that well. So, yeah, Titans +6 against the Seahawks. I can't imagine betting this game.
No.
It's just Titans look like trash. Seahawks look good. This is an inflated number, though. Just I don't see much value here either way.
I want no part of it.
Great. All right. Let's go to a game where we had a little bit of consensus here between all three of us on the show. Chargers -3.5 against the Cowboys here at home. I think now the home part is definitely going to be a question mark. I could see this turning into a Cowboys home game just with the fans. That's definitely probably the biggest concern I have about this game, but the Cowboys offensive line is in shambles here. The Chargers defensive line looked good. Good offense here. I just think the Chargers win a shootout.
Listen, what is wrong with Zeke? Tony Pollard is the best back in fucking Dallas. And
I've been saying this for 2 years and getting mocked at for 2 years.
Well, it's more than evident now. I mean, Zeke doesn't even look like he wants to be on the field. And, Prescott's looked good. He's clearly got weapons at wide receiver. But not having
one less this week.
Yeah, right. One less. So without having a running game, I want nothing to do with Dallas in any spot right now.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about their defensive line, which is missing both their defensive ends, which I think is just as important against Justin Herbert, who's going to have all day, which is why Seige and I and Jeff Mans were texting about the Mike Williams number yesterday, 57.5 yards. I think you could find it lower, though. I still haven't searched it out. I'm going to. But, yeah, I think this is going to be one that is, mostly a shootout. But if you can't get to Justin Herbert, I find it hard to believe you're going to beat this Chargers team.
I can't. I'm completely with you. Chiefs -3.5 at the Ravens here. Some rub from Ricky, Rusty, and Tyler. Ricky, make the case. I just think there's better number. Like I would rather play the Cardinals. I would rather play the Niners than kind of lay 3.5 with the Chiefs here.
The fact that Marquise Brown practiced today changes my mind a little bit. I think I'm with you. I wanted to give you a stronger take, but my take was if this was only going to be a run, like a one-dimensional Ravens offense, with Sammy Watkins as your number one and Mark Andrews, like I thought the Chiefs were a no-brainer here, but the fact that Marquise Brown was back after not practicing Wednesday and Thursday, I don't feel as strongly anymore.
Yeah, I think I like the Chiefs side. Like if I had to pick every game, I would take the Chiefs -3.5. I think though we only have to pick 5. I struggle to see how they'll make the top 5.
Yeah.
Packers minus 11 against the Lions. We talked about it. We just like them to win here. I don't think I would lay 11 with the Packers. They might win by 14. They might win by 10. They might win by 7. So I just don't see a point in playing this.
No.
All right. So let's try to go ahead and hammer out one of these bad boys then here. So last week on the Westgate, we went 1-4.
Oh, no, we suck again.
Well,
Wow.
the good news is if we go like 0-5, there are booby prizes, so we could just really try to start tanking.
Wow.
The bottom line of these
There's 4 of
contests,
them,
having
too.
played them for a decade, it really doesn't matter for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of teams that went 5-0, I'm sure, and they'll go 1-4 next week. I mean, these things are a grind. Like the year I finished 20th, I want to say we were sub 500 going into like Thanksgiving and just went on a tear. So,
All right. So I think that the most obvious pick here for us is the Rams. There was universal love there. After that,
Chargers.
yeah, the Chargers were definitely ones that got a bit of love. So let's go California teams. We can kind of at the at the Westgate, we're giving up the hook on the Niners. I'm not really thrilled about that, but it shouldn't matter.
I'd like a Texan somewhere, personally.
You'd rather play the Texans than the Cardinals?
Do we have to choose one between the 3 contests? We can't play both?
No, I mean, we can. We're just trying to come up with like our top 5, like our top line team. We can find room for the Texans for sure.
Okay.
Across 3.
As long as we have them, I'm not going to fight for the top line team.
Yeah, I think we should go Steelers, Cardinals, and then whatever.
I'm in agreement. So Steelers, Cardinals,
The LA teams.
uh,
I think we're looking at Niners, Texans.
I stand by my Niners.
I think I would. You're not worried about the wrong side of the hook at Westgate?
No, I mean, look, I make this like 5.5. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I do like the Niners. I can get behind it. Did we just go all favorites again, though?
Absolutely.
See, we got to mix in the underdogs here.
Oh, what is wrong with us?
What
We
did
gotta go
favorites go last
Houston.
week? Does anyone know?
The favorites
They were
atrocious.
ass. Yeah, they were ass.
They were like 4-11-1, I think, or 4-12.
Hence the
So
1
it
and
was not
4
good.
from us.
Yeah, let's get some Jags and Texans in here. Let's do
We're
something
not going to get
different.
the Jags in. There's too much opposition on the Broncos. We're never going to get them in.
All right, let's get some Bengals in, baby.
I could
Houston
go
Houston seems to be the one that people believe in more than.
I believe in the Bengals. The line stinks. Like, if I would be more confident if this was Bengals minus 2.5 than I am at plus 2.5.
The 2.5 will not come into play in this game.
I don't. This line just like why are the Bengals underdogs? I don't understand. You got an opinion, Rob, between Texans, Bengals, and Niners? You like the Niners, right?
I'd take the Niners here.
All right, we'll mix in the other 2. Let's take the Niners. Let's go with 5 favorites again.
5 favorites.
Five
Oh,
favorites.
I can't
oh,
imagine how this possibly ends terribly for us.
oh.
We'll mix in the dogs on the other entries. for
At least
sure.
we got a few other teams.
We'll mix them in. So our top 5: Rams minus 3.5, Chargers minus 3, Pittsburgh minus 5.5 or 6, depending on which contest we put it in, Arizona minus 3.5, and the 49ers minus 3 or 3.5, depending on which contest you're playing. And then for Survivor, we got the Packers. So I think we'll be okay though, Ricky. We'll mix in some Bengals, we'll mix in Texans, and we'll be fine.
Well, let's mix them in on the teams that already have wins so we can carry some momentum. And we can just use this one to play for the bottom prize.
I think there's bottom quarter prizes too. If we're like 1-9 heading into next week, we'll have to start looking at
When
them
does this become a low ball?
for the first quarter. I think it's like $50,000 if you have a low score for the first quarter. Or
I'll
something.
totally
So
take that. I will totally
Oh.
cash that check.
Well, at least
So
if we're going to be idiots, let's be the biggest idiots.
What?
I said, at least if we're going to be idiots, let's be the biggest idiots.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
you guys, we're intentionally trying to lose. See, we're trying to win the movie prize. That's the
Anyone
key.
could get the top prize.
Right. There's fewer teams trying to be bad. All
Oh,
right. Okay. All right. So next week, Ricky will not be here. He's going to be preparing for his wedding. So it'll be Rob, me, and a guest to be determined. Rob, we might even want to record this on Thursday if we can too.
That's fine. I just want Tyler Beaker on here, dude.
All right, let's get Tyler on.
Yeah,
So we'll work our magic to get Tyler on. Appreciate you all watching. Of course, if you are watching this, you're members of Elite Sports Betting, but all our bets will be up there. So check it out. Our survivor picks, what we finally do in the contest, we'll put that up. We'll get a section for it up there at Elite Betting so you can see what we do. And he's Rob, he's Ricky. We'll see you next week.